that is ending, but something new is arising. And so this is always the way of evolution. Evolution always wins. Okay, so any of you who would align yourselves with this new evolutionary thrust, you'll do just fine. You will do. You will not only survive, which was always the point in the past, but you will flourish. You will become these radiant, beautiful, joyful creatures that bear little resemblance to our ancestors. Okay, it's interesting. I've always kind of marveled at even looking at photographs from early photographs, and or could be paintings or whatever. The peoples of the 19th century, the 18th century, the 16th century. I mean, these people had a hard life. These people struggled a lot, and it showed in their countenance. They were not happy people. There was really probably no such thing then as personal happiness. It wasn't even like an idea that was considered. If you grew up in a family even a few generations back where the farmers or whatever, this was a hard life, and it was a dangerous life, right? It was just again, that's the nature of the physical world, the animal world, right? It's survival. It's difficult. It's not fun. There's no joy in life at that level. I mean, you can see it in the little baby animals. There's always a joyful presence in baby animals of any species, but it's a hard life, and so it becomes anything but joyful. So there's this amazing evolution. We've talked before about the Hawkins scale of these energetic frequencies. So to be in a frequency of happiness, which we'd say was like gratitude or appreciation, joy, this bliss, these are states of being that have not really existed except in rare individuals. Certain avatars would really stand out because they were living in this rarefied energetic frequency, but it wasn't common. It wasn't accessible to the common human. That really life for them was difficult, was a struggle. So again, you see what's going on today, where the people that want to, they think survival has to do with controlling population, controlling other individuals. And there's individuals, the tribal people are easy to control. But it's not the way forward. The way forward is not about control. So those of you that have ears to hear, eyes to see, that seek a new way of living outside of the regulations, outside of the controls, outside of the limitations. Again, the limitations and controls are what created the migration to North America in the first place. Now, that same migration has to happen out of North America because there's no hope for that culture. That culture needs to be extinguished and redefined. Our species requires a whole new way of thinking that has nothing to do with, again, this warlike behavior. I mean, you see it at the egoic level, just everybody hating each other, everybody hating those that are unlike them. This whole thing is just coming to a head of divisiveness, which is the essence of the ego, is to divide and battle against those unlike you. So again, what we will see, be very clear about this, over the next decade, we will see the total disintegration, the dissolution of that form. Okay, and the new form that those like myself and others will represent, will demonstrate, we will attract others who choose to do this, who choose to be about building the new. Okay, remember Buckminster Fuller, anybody that's out there fighting against this inevitable dissolution, all of their energies are basically being wasted. Okay, to build something new, to put those energies, those resources into building something new, this will be successful. And this will, again, yield, the process of being about this is what yields an exhilarating life, a happy life, a joyful life. It's so exciting for me to be able to continually share this message and invite those that have ears to hear to do it, to become part of it. It's a very simple choice. People had a choice to a certain degree when the Titanic was going down. There was an opportunity for some to get in the lifeboats, get off, and survive. And the rest either didn't have that choice or chose to stay and go down with the ship. So very clear choice, very exciting time. Again, I'll choose in the next series, there's no longer any need to disseminate this evolutionary process. What's exciting now is just to look at here, a new earth, building it piece by piece, foundation, building it just like building a stone wall, building a house, building a whatever, piece by piece. And, looking at this new way. Someone was just kind of debating about, everybody's always debating online about one thing or another. And one person was talking about, the merits of capitalism. Well, capitalism is over. Capitalism did what it did. It was an experiment. It was a game. It was whatever, but it's over. What really is working in the world today, it seems, is this idea of democratic socialism. And, that's what we will establish in our community, a version of that. You might call it a benevolent dictatorship or whatever, but it really is democratic socialism, where people come together choosing democratically to live in the best form of socialism, where everybody's taken care of. The whole idea, the basic idea is that life no longer needs to be a struggle. We have the intelligence, we have the technology, we have the ability to make choices. For instance, living here in Cuenca, Ecuador, this is a very conscious choice to live in probably the friendliest, easiest place on the planet in this time, okay? And I'll just describe briefly what that is as, the ending of, again, this whole world. Imagine people just migrating from one place to another and like living in a place like the Arctic, or living in a place like the Sahara Desert, or, living in these extremely difficult places. Today, with the wealth of information people have, there's no reason to live outside of this equatorial band. Everyone should be living between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, because this is the easiest place to live. This is where you can grow your crops year round. And there's places obviously that are difficult, because if you're too near the coast or too near the equator, if you're at whatever, extremes will exist even in these areas. But there's places like where I'm sitting, where you have the easiest, the best of all possible worlds. Okay, as far as the climate, political climate, economic climate. Ecuador is a totally self-sufficient country. It needs to import nothing. It produces all of its own energy, all of its food, all of its meat, all of its everything. Not technology, that comes in from other places. But as far as life, life, which is, taking care of the body, taking care of the mind, taking care of the spirit. You know, this communication device we have, this body and this person, simply needs to be cared for. It doesn't need to be indulged. It doesn't need to be whatever. I mean, again, the secret to this success is that we no longer are focusing on the body or the person as our identity, okay? If your body, you know, again, the tribal people, the survival of the body was the only thing that mattered. Okay, to the egoic, the survival of the person was the only thing that mattered. Or I shouldn't say just survival, but the development of the person, the development of the personality, it's like, and now when we see that, wow, there's something far greater, the body and the person are simply a device that we identified now with our energetic reality that we use to communicate as we walk in this world. But we're tapped into a realm, a reality beyond the space-time world. So that's really where we exist. Okay, we're communicating, we're bringing that. You know, again, once people are aligned with this function, this purpose, this is the meaning of life today, okay, is to serve this higher energetic function, to become that. Okay, no longer a physical body, no longer identified, no longer a person. We're something else. We're something else. And this is again what I'll explore in our new series. You know, what is this new human? What is Homo spiritus, Homo globulus? What am I? You know, I represent that. I'm a fully evolved Homo globulus, fully aware of my function, fully devoted to my function. And because of that, everything manifests. We manifest paradise. It manifests around us because that's reality. That reality is to be in paradise, to manifest paradise, because paradise is what we represent. It's again an amazing shift. If a person is locked into their conditioned way of thinking about the body and the person, well, this will seem totally ridiculous to them. But it's real. It's real. And so again, part of the program is supporting people in the process of consciously dying to that misidentification. You know, again, it's what our grandparents, what our ancestors, that's all they knew. They didn't have an option. You have an option to choose to live in a new earth. So I'll end this series. Thank you for listening. It's you know, interesting to me. It's what I spent 40 years of my life doing, focused on this process of evolution. And now I want to be done with that and just be at play in the fields of the Lord, just enjoying paradise, enjoying the full flowering of our new species. So I love you. You can do it.